Welcome to Film School Friday. I'm Corey.
I'm Bill.
And together,
we host the In Focus podcast.
Film School Friday is our special weekly episode where we try to pass along a little bit of knowledge, wisdom, experience.
Nuggets of info.
Some may say expertise.
Yes.
I'm not some. I don't have expertise.
Wrong.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Bill, this week I'd like to talk about something in the world of audio.
Yes.
A little acronym referred to as ADR.
Correct. ADR stands for Automated Dialogue Replacement.
So fancy.
Sometimes called dubbing.
Like dub stepping?
No.
No? Okay.
Not quite.
All right.
I don't actually know where dub stepping comes from.
But
it probably has a similar origin.
It's not ADR.
Yeah, but dubbing is the more layman's term, the more common word that people know. If you've seen anything that was in a foreign language or it's dubbed in English, it's dubbed.
Yeah.
Dubbing.
So what's interesting, and maybe you know this, maybe you don't, ADR being automated, what I know of dubbing isn't automated a damn bit.
No. And that's the thing. When I first heard about ADR in college and what it stood for, I thought to myself, there is absolutely nothing automated about this process. This is a manual process, a rigorously manual process at that. And honestly, my professor did not know why it was called that. And I looked it up before we recorded this show. And I still didn't find an answer to why it's called automated. It just is.
Okay. All right.
But, you know, dubbing, ADR. A lot of people don't even know what ADR stands for anymore. They just know what it is. So it's just become its own word by itself. But anyway, it's dubbing. It's, at the base level when you're not doing, like I said, the obvious thing is the foreign language, dubbing it in a different language. But ADR is also used very heavily for when on-set audio is not clean and you need some clean audio. And this is done more often than you would think. In fact, a lot of Hollywood films are quite ADR'd. If that's even a word.
It's pretty common.
Yes, it's very common. In fact, large percentages of the movies you go out and enjoy and love, a lot of the dialogue has been recorded later. I mean, it's recorded on set, obviously, but it's been cleaned up later in an audio booth. And so what that involves is, let's say you have a shoot outside, and you can't control the environment a lot of times. Trees knocking, birds chirping, planes flying, all those wonderful things that the audio recordist just loves. And sometimes you just got to get the shot. Or maybe you're in a really small room with bad acoustics and there's a lot of echoing, and you just have to suck it up and do it. You can't use that audio ultimately. It's not clean. And so what'll happen is the actor that was speaking in that scene will go back later on in post to a recording studio, voiceover booth, and they'll have the footage in front of them on playback, and they're basically dubbing their own performance.
They'll just loop that scene over and over, and the actor will just get multiple takes of the same line, the same set of lines.
Yeah, which, hats off to them, because there's scenes where a dialogue scene could be pretty emotional, or it involve a lot of stamina that they had on set, and they have to replicate that in a sound booth later.
In a very calm, very not in the moment setting.
Yeah. And so that's an enormous skill for actors to go through, and a challenge I know that a lot of them are down for. But, we've done some ADR. I've done some ADR. We did some for your Lucky Scruff commercial years ago, because we shot in a really small bathroom with horrible acoustics. And so we had Chris, who was the actor in it, come in later, and we had Mike Stryker, who's been on the show, who actually did the recording. And he kept having, it's so meticulous when you go through it sometimes, especially for something like a small 30-second spot. Like, the way he would say things, just like, what was the phrase at the end of the commercial? Go ahead. And Stryker kept having Chris say, go ahead, repeatedly. And Chris would be into the mic. He'd be like, go ahead. And Stryker would go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. And it would just be back and forth. And you would see Stryker playing this like half-second clip back and forth. And just like he had to nail perfectly the movement of his own mouth.
Right.
And so it's a meticulous job. So yes, back to the automated part of it. Nah,
not so much.
When it is automated, that's going to save people a lot of time and a lot of work.
If you're listening and you know the history and why it is referred to as automated,
that would be a great thing to find out.
Please let us know.
Yeah.
Email us, hello@infocuspodcast.com.
Yeah. And sometimes this is a really funny note about dubbing in ADR. And I don't know if this is done so much anymore with the streaming advent, but back when movies were censored for TV, they would a lot of times have somebody who wasn't the original actor come in and just dub over the curse word and be like, you mother fudge, and it'd be like a different actor. And it was always so bad.
I'm sick of these mother fudging snakes on this mother fudging plane.
Yeah. But it would be someone who clearly was not that actor. But that's a form of dubbing in ADR. So there's a lot of different approaches to that and ways that's done.
Yeah.
Sometimes dialogue is rewritten and changes, especially if it's off camera. That's sometimes done in ADR. And so,
like if you have a dirty over the shoulder or just where we know you're speaking, but your mouth isn't actually on camera. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And sometimes the director wants to change the inflection. Maybe they didn't get the inflection they wanted on set, and it's still going to read visually no matter what they do.
Yeah.
So they change the inflection. A lot of different factors.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Oh, yeah. So next time you watch the big Marvel movie that you like, keep in mind that every single actor in that film went back to a voiceover booth at some point after being on set and re-recorded every single one of their lines.
Yeah.
Props.
Do it for the art.
Yes.
Nice. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Are you sure?
Am I missing something?
No.
You've got me questioning myself now.
Yes. Mission accomplished. All right. Well, for our listeners, make sure you check us out on Instagram at InFocusPod or online at InFocusPodcast.com. Bill, thanks again for all the knowledge bombs.
Hey, I try.
You try real hard and you deliver real hard.
Thanks.
I think.
We'll just re-record this later, and then
Maybe.
we can redub this. Do some ADR. Yeah.
If you like what you heard today, go ahead and subscribe. If you're on Apple Podcasts, make sure you leave us a rating. It would help us out a ton.
We'd love you for it.
And until next time,
feed your crew.